नमसभायै प्रथमतः स्वामिनः पादमूले मम प्रणामपूर्वकं नमस्कारान् समर्पयामि। वेदो नित्यमधीयताम् इत्युक्तं शङ्कराचार्यैः। तदनुसृत्य आर्षधारा निर्वाहकैः बहुप्रयासं कृत्वा इदं सम्मेलनं सज्जीकृतम्। भाग्यवान् अयं जनः यतः अस्यां सभायां भाषणमेकं कर्तुम् आहूतोऽस्मि। इदानीं सर्वेषां सौकर्यार्थम् आङ्ग्लभाषां स्वीकृत्य ವ್ಯಾಹರಾಮಿ. ಸಂಪ್ರತಿ ಇದಮುಚ್ಯತೆ ಬಂದಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ರೋಮ್ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ರೋಮನಂತ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಎಂದು ಒಂದು ವಚನ ಇದೆ, ಹಳೆಯ ವಚನ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬಂದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು, ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಹೊಸ ವಚನ. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ವೇದ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಕಾಶವಾಗಿ ಇದೆ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ವಿದ್ವಾಂಸರು, ಎಷ್ಟೆಷ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು, ಪಠನ ಪಾಠ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು, ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನಗಳು, ಇವುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಯನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಯಪಡಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. I thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to render the valedictory address here on this happy occasion when we are conducting this particular conference, National Conference on the Vedic Wisdom, Vedic Sciences. Well, we all say that the Vedas are nithya. What is the definition of nithyatva, permanent, eternal? Well, I would say the universal aspect, whatever is universal, must be considered as nithya, eternal. Why do we consider the Vedas as universal? Because it contains wonderful universal thoughts. Ano bhadraha kratavo yantu vishvataha. Let noble thoughts come to us from all directions. What can be more universal than this? Reflecting our traditional culture. Ayam nijaha paraha vaiti ganana laguchetasam udaracharitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Well, this is the tradition of this land. And what is speaking, whatever literature speaks of divinity, that must be considered as nithya or eternal. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyaha, says Lord Krishna himself. Vedantakrit vedavidevachaham. So when the Lord himself says that I am spoken of by the Vedas, then it is divine and it is eternal, it is nithya. Now, I would like to point out certain salient features of the Vedas. Very important advice that will be helpful for every one of us for that matter, even in our day-to-day life. The Vedas are not simply meaningless syllables. They are full of meaning. Their meaning has to be understood. Therefore, it is said that a person who just performs the adhyayana of the Veda, he recites the Veda, but if he doesn't know the meaning, it is of no use. Sthanurayam bharaharaha yo aditya vedam yo vidanati no artham na artha. A person who does the recitation of the Vedas but does not know the meaning is like a stone slab bearing the weight. If you keep the sandalwood or if you keep something else, dirt, the stone slab cannot distinguish. So that is the nature of a person if he doesn't understand the meaning. And therefore, the meaning of the Vedas have also to be understood. Their significance has to be understood. Their message have to be understood. And it has to be spread. That is why we have such conferences. And our organizers have done a wonderful job in organizing this particular conference here. When we say the Vedas, it is not only the four Vedas. The entire tradition, the Vedangas, the Itihasas, the Puranas, the Kavyas, all these contribute to in some way or other, the Vedic literature. And it is said, Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samupabhrahmayet. And One of the important, I am not going to elaborate on all the messages of the Veda, just one or two I may point out which for our benefit for that matter. One of the messages of the Veda, Prajapatim Tvo Veda, Prajapatistvam Veda, Yam Prajapatir Veda, Sa Punyo Bhavati. He is a very gracious person, wonderful person, who not only admires or loves God, the God also loves him. It is mutual. He loves God and the God loves him. And more than himself loving the God, if the God loves him or he does such acts in a way that God will love him, that is great. It is said in the Taittiriya. And then again we have a very wonderful message. Discharge your debts, don't keep your debts. Not only debts in the form of money, your debts that you owe to the rishis, the sages, the pitras, the forefathers, and to the gods. All kind of runa must be dispensed with, discharged. In fact, even Shakespeare says, for that matter, in Hamlet, neither a lender nor a borrower be. Very useful message for all of us. Anurna asmin, anurna parasmin, tritiye loke, anurna syama. Let us be free from debts in all the three worlds, not only in this world, but also in the other world. Then another important message. Well, it is said, ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyametat pashubhir narana. Eating food when we are hungry, then sleeping when we are feeling sleepy, and then procreation, sense of fear. These are all common to all beings in the world. To human beings, to the animals, for every jiva for that matter. But what is it that distinguishes man? Jnano hi tesham adhiko visheshaha jnanena hinaha pashubhir samanaha. It is only jnana, quest for knowledge, that distinguishes man from the other animals, other beings. A person without the quest for knowledge is equivalent to the animals. It is said. And emphasizing this particular point, what kind of procreation, what kind of children we get? Well, everywhere in the Vedas and in all our karmas, it is insisted. Suprajaha, praja, husband and wife unite for the sake of getting suprajaha, beautiful citizens, wonderful citizens for this country, who will be exceptional in every field for that matter. The word praja itself is significant. Prakrishtena jayate, one who is born in a wonderful way, not like the children, the young ones of the animals. Therefore, it is the duty of every parent to give to the world suprajaha, wonderful citizens. And it is also the duty of the young children to carry out the wishes of the parents. And therefore, even while the most important ritual of the marriage is panigrahana, the first time when the husband takes hold of the hand of his wife. So at that time, what is the mantra that we recite? Grinnamite suprajastvaya hastam. I hold your hand for begetting suprajaha, wonderful citizens. Therefore, it is said in the Vedic literature, prajayahi manushyaha purnaha. A man becomes complete only when he gets suprajaha, wonderful citizens for this country. And the Vedic literature and all our rituals, they emphasize that we must have a strong mind, strong resolution, resolute in our activities. That is why it is said, sthita prajna, one should have that sthita prajnatam. Therefore, both in the marriage and the upanayana, the two most important rituals, this particular mantra is recited with a little change. For example, at the time of the upanayana, it is said, atisthemam ashmanam ashme vastvam stiro bhava. In the case of the wedding, it will be stira bhava. Here it is stiro bhava. A stone slab ritual. The husband helps the wife to get onto a stone and recites the mantra by saying, mount this stone and may you be firm like the stone, because the wife has enormous responsibilities of running the family and begetting the suprajaha for the sake of the family and for the sake of the nation, and therefore she has to be resolute, she has to be firm in her resolve, in all her activities. Similarly, at the time of the Upanayana, the boy has to say, the teacher says, mount this stone so that you will be resolute, you will be firm in your resolve of brahmacharya. What a wonderful concept of brahmacharya. All our ills of the present day younger generation particularly arise because of this particular aspect. We have forgotten the significance of brahmacharya. So it is time to revive this particular tradition, that in full spirit our youngsters observe brahmacharya. Brahmacharya doesn't not only the external thing, but in the mind. In the mind, not by watching the television serial by which we are carried away. Well, a student has to protect himself from all these external influences and protect the tradition. And then about the beautiful concept of dharmapatni, the Vedas say, ardho va yesha atmanaha yat patni. A wife is half of her husband. That is why we have the ardhanarishvara concept itself, which exemplifies this particular concept. In Taittiriya Brahmana we have this. And Mahabharata says, ardham bhadya manushyasya. A wife is half of the husband. What a wonderful concept. That husband and wife share all the responsibilities, all the duties. And in the time of the wedding also, during the Saptapadi, a beautiful mantra is recited. Let us walk together 7 steps, because Sakyam Saptapadi Namuchyate, as Kalidasa also says, 7 steps you take forward, then you become friends. Let us be friends. Not that I am husband, I am dominating and you are just wife, carry like a slave. No. We are both equal. I am the sky, you are the Jauraham and Prithvi-tvam. I am the sky, you are the earth. Both are united. Manohamasmi Vaktvam. I am the mind, you are the speech. Without the mind, where is the speech? So we are united together in the wedlock. What a wonderful concept. So this is the essence of the Vedas. Therefore, and just now we recited this, we heard several recitations. The message for the country, message for the individual, message for the society, message for the entire country for that matter. Sangachadvam samvadadvam samvo manam sijanatam. What a wonderful concept for the entire nation. What are the ills of this country? Because though we were subjugated by the Muslims first and then the British next. Because we were weak, we were not united. Had we followed the Vedic advice, Sangachadvam samvadadvam, we could have thwarted the external influence on us, the external aggression on us. Our culture would have been protected in toto. Because we forgot this particular concept, we are suffering. And it is not that the Vedas always speak of philosophical things, rituals and things like that. It contributes, the messages of the Veda contribute to your overall total development, total personality development at all levels. At the physical level, at the mental level, the intellectual level, at the emotional level, at the spiritual level for that matter. While at the physical level for that matter, the Vedas say, Shariram me vicharshanam, Jihva me madhumattama, Karna abhyam bhuri vishravam. Let my body be sound. Because sound mind is a sound body. Let my tongue speak only sweet things. Jihvame madhumattama. This tongue, this mouth does 2 jobs. Both are very dangerous. We eat all the junk food, unnecessary things that invite trouble. Similarly, we speak unwanted things in an unnecessary way and invite troubles. Therefore, one has to be very careful about the tongue. Therefore, it is jihvame madhumattama. Karnabhyam bhuri vishram. Let me hear only good things through the ears. Then, physical level, mental level. Mind has to be kept very pure. Because manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayo. It is the mind which says you are bound If the mind says you are bound, we are bound. The limbs do not cooperate. We become weak. If the mind says you are strong, all the limbs will cooperate in a fitting manner. Therefore, manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamakshayo, it is said. The great poet Milton said, it is the mind. The mind can make a heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven. Therefore, mind has to be kept in a very pure manner. Because if you allow the mind to think of unwanted things, the filthy things, then one is spoiled. At the very first root level itself, we have to control our thoughts and see that we imbibe only pure thoughts. As it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu upajayate, sangat sanjayate kamaha, kamat krodo vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammohaha, sammohat smritivibramaha, smritivramshat buddhinashaha, buddhinashat pranashyati. One by one. If the mind is corrupt, then total erosion of values, everything. Total life is lost. Therefore, not only the mind, but all the limbs must be kept under control. These are all aspects of brahmacharya, which are very much enshrined in our Vedic literature. Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambasi. If you go running after the material things, then your entire life is ruined, like a boat tossed about in an ocean by waves. And intellectual faculty, it's very important. One has to maintain the buddhi intact. If the buddhi is not firm, then your life is ruined. Therefore, it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, which only reflects the Vedic culture. That is the great tradition, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, Kavya, Nataka, and even music for that matter, musical composition. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka eva kurunandana. If you are firm, if you are firm, there is only one buddhi. But on the other hand, bahushaka hi anantascha buddhayaha avyavasayinam. If you are not resolute, your mind dissipates, wavers your buddhi, then you are spoiled. Therefore, intellectual contribution, intellectual upbringing, that's very important. That is what we find in the Vedic literature again. Emotional stability again is very important. If you are too emotional, you can't achieve anything. In a spur of the moment, you indulge in some action, and that is the ruin. Therefore, following the Vedic tradition, the Bhagavad Gita says, Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labha jaya jayo. Treat pleasure or pain alike, victory or defeat alike, profit or loss alike. Then your mind is free. You maintain the mental balance, emotional balance. Then again, the spiritual greatness. What is spirituality? Many of us are misled. We think that going to the temple and sitting there for hours together, that alone is ritual. No. I would like to quote Swami Vivekananda's words. He said, spirituality consists of only two things: faith in oneself and a concern for the fellow human beings. Faith in oneself. We must have faith in ourselves. Shraddha. Shraddhavam labate jnanam. And Shraddha, in all our prayers, Shraddha is emphasized. Shraddham, medham, yashapragyam, vidyam, buddhim, yashobalam, ayushyam, teja, arogyam cha, dehi meha pyavahana, like that. In all our Vedic prayers, Shraddha is emphasized. Because if we have Shraddha, we can achieve anything for that matter in this world. And how do you entertain Shraddha and how do you improve yourselves? Not necessary to be advised by others. With our own efforts, by our own efforts. And therefore, following the Vedic tradition, the Bhagavad Gita also says, Uddhared atmana atmanam, na atmanam avasadayet. Atmaivehi atmano bandhuho, atmaivehi atmano ripuhu. We must raise our standard by our own efforts, not expecting help from others. And never underestimate yourselves, never think that you are useless. Everyone should think that he is bound to achieve great things in this world. As Swami Vivekananda would say, each soul is potentially divine. Therefore, let us imbibe that divinity, and each one of us will be great in our own selves. And if each one of us is great, the entire nation will be great. We can revive our Vedic tradition and make this nation the greatest country in the entire world for that matter. And along with your faith in yourselves, a concern for the fellow human beings. How do you reflect it? Concern for the fellow human beings? That is through the spirit of service and sacrifice. The spirit of service and sacrifice. Therefore, very often it is said, Paropakaraya idam shariram. Can I take 5 minutes? Therefore, it is very often said, Paropakaraya idam shariram. This body, this life, human life, is meant for helping others. Nahi swadeha shaityaya jayate chandanadhramaha. The sandalwood tree is not born to cool its own body. Spirit of sacrifice, tyaga, is very important. Tyagena ikena amritatva manashu, it is emphasized in our literature. Therefore, this spiritual knowledge, sa vidyaya vimuktaye, that kind of knowledge which gives us emancipation, which liberates us, that knowledge, that Vedic knowledge, that we have to imbibe, and that has to be imparted to our youngsters to make this country a great one. So let's get rid of all these narrow tendencies. The concept of universal brotherhood has been emphasized in the Vedic literature, and this has to be inculcated in the minds of our youngsters. We are part of the divinity. We are not different from it. That divinity, that Brahman, is Sat, Chit and Ananda. Let us also imbibe that Sat aspect, Chit aspect and Ananda aspect. That is why it is said, Ananda Brahmeti Vyajanat, Ananda Dhyeva Kalvimani Bhutani Jayante, Anande Najata Nijivanti, Anandam Prayantya Visham Vishantiti. Therefore, in our Vedic literature, it is said, whatever act you do it with full control of your mind, with full involvement. Pashyema Sharadassatam. Let us see for 100 years. Seeing doesn't mean just seeing with these material eyes. What does it mean? We must see in such a way that the whole world looks at you. One important message. Matirvat paradaramscha, paradravyani loshtavat, atmavat sarvabhutani yapashyati sapashyati. This is the essence of looking. Pashyema saradasya. Look at others, other women, as your own mother. Look at the wealth of others as a lump of clay. Consider all beings as your own self with a sense of empathy for that matter. That is the real aspect of seeing. A person who sees like this is really seeing. Therefore, pashyema saradasyatam. Jivema saradasyatam. Let us all hope that we will live for long years and contribute something to the society. In the Ramayana, it is said, when Sita was about to commit suicide, Hanuman says, Kalyani bada gatheyam, laukiki pratibhatime, yeti jivantam anandam, naram varshashasadapi. You may be suffering now, but who knows, you may get ananda, happiness after some years. Therefore, continue to live. This message has to be imparted to our youngsters. Many of our youngsters get disheartened at small things and commit suicide. Even in IITs, it is taking place. Very unfortunate thing. So we have to tell them, don't lose your life, get disheartened. There are many things that have to be achieved in this world. Live, continue to live. Automatically things will change and good things will happen. Let us hear good things. Prabhavama Sharadasyatam. Let us speak good things through this word. Therefore, Ajitasyama Sharadasyatam. Let us have the hope that we will win all the battles for that matter. So this is the essence of the Vedic tradition. Let us respect our teachers. Let us respect our society. Let us respect our parents. Let us respect the Vedic tradition. Let us respect these Vedic scholars. And let us respect each and every human being for that matter, as though we are one with them, one family for that matter. This is the very essence of the Vedic tradition. And let us imbibe the tradition, let us spread this message to all the people. That is the importance of this conference. I congratulate the organizers for organizing this particular wonderful conference. I thank you all for the opportunity given to me.